It's finally here. Power Rangers Issue 16, the finale of the Eltarian War story arc. And knowing that Issue 16 of Power Rangers was going to be the finale of the Altarian War, I was curious how Ryan would stick the landing of this story arc. How would things end? How would things wrap up? And I gotta say, how Ryan wrapped up a lot of plot threads in this issue was amazing. So many things were resolved in this issue, but also set up for future things later down the line as the comic book series continues. And the final page of this story arc was such a satisfying moment with the last image you see with how this comic or storyline began. And not only that, there were several other moments that got me teary-eyed as I turned the page and I realized what was going on. What was the symbolism behind seeing those images and what was the setup for these moments. Like, Ryan hit every moment on the head with a nail. Well, he hit the nail on the head with every moment. And I gotta give props to the artists and the writers and the colorers and the letterers. They all did an amazing job as well with this issue. But without any further ado, let's talk about Power Rangers Issue 16, the finale of the Altarian War. Let's go. So the issue opens up with Lord Zed and Zordon in the ruins of the battlefield with what just happened. And Lord Zed is talking about may the power protect you, and how he always hated that saying and never understood it. And the whole may the power protect you in Power Rangers is like the whole may the force be with you in Power Rangers. No one really gets it, it's just a cool thing to say. And Lord Zed questions what it's about, saying, is there some kind of all-powerful energy field floating across the universe watching all of us? He calls it superstitious nonsense. And he asks Zordon if he believes in it still, and Zordon replies with, he does. And this is where Lord Zed questions Zordon's belief in it, because he says, where was it when the Imperials destroyed all those worlds? Where was it when I was laying in the cave when I was suffering? And where was it when I was terrorizing the universe? And then Lord Zed also says, I've seen more death and destruction than anyone alive, and believe me, if his power exists, it doesn't care if any of us lives or dies. And then Zordon interjects with that by saying, you're wrong. And then Lord Zed says, tell me, is the power going to save you now, as Zordon's battlesuit is cracked and it looks like Zordon is on the brink of death? And Zordon replies with, well, that's up to you, because the power isn't some energy field or some supernatural guide. It's our actions we make, it's our decisions we decide on. It's what we think and do when no one is watching. It's who we are. And this is where Zordon calls Lord Zed Zolfram. And this angers Zed or Zolfram. And Lord Zed then interjects, because there's a lot of back and forth between these characters, saying, you chose to kill Zardius and spare me, but do you think that sacrifice will make you show you some kind of mercy? Then you are gravely mistaken. And then Zordon says, I've accepted that, and I will never see the universe the same way. You and I will be at war for the rest of our lives. Maybe there's no magical power guiding my hand, but I'd still make the same choice again and again. So Lord Zed carries Zordon, and I love this shot of Lord Zed carrying Zordon in his arms, and he creates a portal to take him back to the ruins of Promethea where the battle was. And this is where Zordon apologizes for what happened to him. And this is the interesting part that I talked about in my preview as well. Zordon says, if there was any way I could sacrifice myself and then turn you back into the man you were, I would. And Lord Zed replies with, that's the problem, my friend. I never was that man. Now, this part here, a lot of people called a retcon for Lord Zed and Zordon with everything going on. And although people are calling it a retcon, you have to understand that the comics and the TV show are two totally different continuities. Although events are played out very, very differently in the comic compared to the TV show, like I said earlier, you have to understand these are two totally different continuities, so there's not really a retcon here. This is just a totally different Lord Zed from what we've seen in the TV show. Just a more in-depth and emotional Lord Zed, you could say, or a Lord Zed with emotions. So after that, we then cut back to the ruins of Promethea, where it seems like the Sentry Force for Zayla and Lord Zed's minions are still willing to keep fighting. Well, it seems like the Sentry Force 4 are still willing to keep fighting, but in a turn of events, they surrender and give up the fight. So that means the Sentry Force 4 surrender and the war is finally over. So after that, we then have Alpha and Zordon come through another portal where Zordon sort of recaps to the Rangers everything that happened. But Zordon's energy tube, his brand new body, isn't looking so hot, so him and Billy walk away to fix Zordon's body. And after that, we then get another moment where the Omega Rangers are trying to figure out how to fix their Zords, because their Zords aren't exactly moving. And then you hear a familiar voice, Drakken, but he's only speaking the Trini. And this is where Drakken says, I didn't want to depart without giving you the chance to say thank you. And Trini's like, thank you. And then Drakken explains, for leaving 11's body behind, the one with the transponder inside, how else do you think Safe Haven found you on that cursed planet? And Trini replies with, wait, you did that on purpose? And Drakken's like, of course. If anyone's going to take down the Omega Rangers someday, it's going to be me. So I love that Drakken was like big brain move, and he purposely left 11 behind on that planet so someone can find him. It's so weird, but it's such a Drakken move to do that he's like 20 steps ahead of everyone. So Trini and Drakken have their back and forth, and Trini's surprised that he was the one that saved him, and how he brought the horror to Earth to save the universe. And she says, I would call that noble. And Drakken replies with, noble, please. There's only room in the galaxy for one evil warlord, and me saving the Earth was just a coincidence. And Trini's like, you know, it's not too late to fly off. You can always come back, and we can work things out. And this moment here, I frickin' loved. Where Drakken replies with, Trini, do you really think I'd believe you? Do you think I have the word idiot stamped across my forehead? And Drakken saying that is way back at the start of the Power Rangers comic, where Drakken was trying to play mind games with Trini, and Trini replies with, do you think I've got idiot stamped across my forehead? So I love that exchange between the two. But it also says that Drakken's still out there, and he's somewhere out in the galaxy, where Trini's like, be careful out there, the universe can be a scary place. And Drakken's like, well, they haven't seen me yet. And that's where that Drakken story plotline ends. But Drakken's still out there. Drakken is still out there, and that is great. I love how Drakken sort of has this closure moment with Trini, and Drakken's still out in the universe in the Omega Ranger ship, so he could come back in another story arc or later down the line, but it's good to see this whole Drakken storyline wrapped up, and the guy didn't get locked away. He's still out there in the universe somehow, some way, and that's great to know. We then come back to the ruins of the command center where Billy is trying to fix Zordon, but things aren't looking good for Zordon because the longer he stays in that battlesuit, his cellular level is breaking and he's slowly going to die. And this is where Grace comes in and she understands the situation. And Grace is willing to help Zordon. And Zordon says, why are you helping me? After how I treated you, you should let me die. And Grace replies with, well, you've got Zords to rebuild and I've got a world to protect. Plus, I thought this way you could let me keep the Dragon Coin. So, Grace is keeping the Dragon Coin. For all you Matt haters who are saying, oh, Matt's going to give the coin back after the story arc and no more Green Ranger Matt. Well, you were wrong. Matt's going to be the Green Ranger a little bit longer. But Zordon's grateful to Grace. He says, I'm in your debt. But before he gets fixed, he wants to do one last thing. And this moment when you turn the page where Zordon says, there's something I need to do one last time, you turn the page and Zordon is on the Dragon Zord, Tiger Zord combination, and he's looking at the sunset and he's just crying. He's shedding tears. And that moment goes back to what Zordon said where he says he wants to watch the sunset. And that moment just hit me really hard. Like, there's a lot of moments in this comic that hit me really hard, and one of them's coming up very soon. We then have the Omega Rangers talking to the Blue Emissary, where the Blue Emissary is talking to his students, the Omega Rangers. And Jason asks, saying, hey, now that we destroyed the Imperials, does that mean the other emissaries are back to life? And the Blue Emissary replies with, For the first time in my existence, I don't have the answers to that, and I don't know how much longer I've got left in this form. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna travel the universe in this reality and seek out the Morphin Masters. And Trini asks, well, what if we need your help? I mean, look what happened without you. We messed up really badly, and we were lost without a mentor. And the emissary replies with saying he saw exactly what happened. He watched the mistakes they made and how they learned from them, and how they endangered their own lives to protect the innocents and ultimately risks them to save the universe. And without their bravery, he wouldn't be here today. So, he says they have no need for a mentor. They're the Omega Rangers, and this might be our end, but it's your beginning. So, that's where that leaves off for those characters there. So, the emissary is off in the universe doing something. Will we see him again? No idea, just like Drakken, we have no idea if we're going to see this character again, but he's out in the universe doing something. So I do like how Ryan's sort of setting up all this plot threads for all these different characters, sort of going off into the universe, doing their own things, sort of setting up if we might ever see him again. So I do like that. I do like that indeed. So after that, Zordon's got his tube back online, and his brand new tube looks kind of like the one he gets in Zeo and Turbo later down the line, where it's sort of shaped like that one with how it's positioned. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like for me. It kind of looks like that tube that Zordon gets later down the line. But Candice is unsure what to do, and Zordon tells her that Eltar needs a leader right now. So you should go there and lead, because what the people of Eltar need right now is a leader with everything that just happened. And he says that she's perfect for that position. After that, we then cut back to Jason and Tommy talking to Lord Zedd's minions, and they give him an ultimatum saying, hey, this portal goes back to Safe Haven where you're free and you can live and stay there for as long as you like, and your days of fighting are over and you can start again. Or you can go on the other one. I don't know why I'm pointing when I'm not on camera right now. Or you can go on the other one where it will take you back to the moon and you can keep serving Lord Zedd. And with this page, you don't really get an answer. But we find out their answer later down the line. So I do like how it's sort of this mysterious answer that Lord Zedd's minions might retire and go live on Safe Haven. But if you've seen the show, you probably know what decision they're going to make. Okay, here's the big gut-wrenching moment that got me almost teary-eyed. There was a lot of teary-eyed moments, but I knew this one would be coming eventually in the storyline, but when we finally get to it, this moment was like, I felt a lot of things. So, we then cut back to Bulk and Skull, where they're in the same alleyway where Candice went missing. It's the same alleyway, I believe, Bulk and Skull first met Candice, and Candice reveals herself to be alive, and Skull is all kinds of emotions right now. But Candice reveals who she really is, and that is an alien of Eltar. And I love Skull's reaction, because how Ryan has written Skull in Go-Go and in his Power Ranger comics, I've loved his version of Skull. I loved it in Go-Go with that moment he had with Kimberly. I just love how he writes Skull in moments like this. So Skull isn't freaking out that Candice is an alien. He's like, well, it makes sense because for someone to date me, there would have to be an alien. And Candice offers him, or Zayla offers him, saying that you were never part of the mission. I love this planet and everything on it, and you were absolutely the best part. And Skull's like, yeah, whatever. But she gives him an offer, saying, which is why I was hoping you would want to come back home with me. Come live on Eltar with me. And Skull's reply is, I don't know, I would really love to, but... And then Candice replies with, but you've got to stay here and take care of Bulk. And he replies with, yeah, I think I do. But she understands, and they have this moment where they say, I'm really going to miss you. And Skull says, you look fantastic in blue. And then they kiss. And that's the last we see of these two characters. But the moment that these characters have, and how I knew it was coming, and I kind of knew we would probably have the kiss between them because it's on one of the covers, but that moment just hit me in the gut so much because Skull's an awesome character in the comics. I love how Ryan writes Skull. And for him to have this, like, heartwarming, sad moment with someone he loves and he's probably never going to see again, is, like I said, another gut-punching moment that got me really teary-eyed, but it was an awesome moment, and props to Ryan for doing it. Like, this moment really hit hard, and I love the setup for it with the setting in the alleyway and stuff like that, how they met, how she went missing. It's the same spot that she went missing, and that's the same spot he's going to say goodbye to her in. Just a lot of emotions right now with that scene, and I really loved it. So after that, we then cut back to the moon where the evil space aliens return to Lord Zed. And this is where Lord Zed is actually proud of them for actually fighting to save themselves, because Babu makes a comparison saying if Rita found out what we did, she'd be ashamed of us, but Lord Zed here is actually proud of them because they were actually fighting to save themselves, so he kind of values their honor with what they did and the choices they made. But after that, we then have Lord Zed asking Finster if he completed his mission, and apparently Finster placed an item in the command center before the Imperials' attack. Now, what that item is, no idea, I might have forgotten about it, but Lord Zed says the Rangers won't even know it's there until it's too late. He then tells the others to pack their belongings because they're leaving, and they ask him, where are they going? And Lord Zed replies with, somewhere we can revel in our victory, for tragedy could be awaiting around every corner. And as he says that, he removes his helmet, and it's on the ground, and you just see the Lord Zed helmet placed on the floor. And that's where this story arc ends. So, I am lost for words with how Ryan ended this. It ended with Lord Zed sort of leaving the moon and doing his own thing, where he's off to explore the universe, much like all the other characters I talked about, the emissary Drakken and stuff like that, and now Lord Zed as well. So Lord Zed might be out of the picture for the longest time in the next story arc, so that should be interesting to see. But I just love the ending shot you get with the story arc, with Lord Zed removing his helmet and taking it off. Like, we don't see him without the helmet off, you just see him removing it, and it's on the ground and it's cracked and damaged. And that was just a really cool freaking moment. So yeah, that's my review slash recap slash discussion slash mini podcast of Power Rangers issue 16, the finale of the Eltarian War, and I don't know what else I can say about this issue. I feel like I've said enough about it because this review looks like it's going to be going on for like 20 plus minutes, so I'll wrap it up really quickly, but I'll just say this. I loved the start of this story arc, I love the ending of the story arc, and I think Ryan did an amazing job telling this story through the Power Rangers comics since Unlimited Power started, and how it led into the Altarian War with everything going on. And I'm excited to see what Ryan is going to do next for the Omega Ranger comic moving forward, but I don't know, this story arc I just freaking loved, and I might have it higher than Shattered Grid, but that's all I'm going to say here for now. Amazing story arc, amazing issue, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So, with that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Special thanks to all the members such as Swaggerthorn, Andrew McCoyle, and the Power Bunny, who is a $30 member. If you want to get your name shouted out like these guys over here, hit the join button or become a member on the Patreon for special perks and stuff like that on the channel. With that said, I'm bringing this video to a close. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, bye.